It's officially the 1-year anniversary of starting this show, and we want to thank all of you for sticking with us. So to celebrate, this time we're going to explore the lands above and beyond, and break the boundaries of Breath of the Wild. As usual, let us know if you want to keep learning new things by liking this video. You can easily break open or burn wooden boxes to get the goodies inside, but you can never do the same to metal chests, they never break. But did you know there's actually one way to do this? Death Mountain's cannon can completely destroy metal chests, and drop the loot inside. Even amiibo armor. Well, that's just weird. Without any sort of mods, it's actually possible to go into space in Breath of the Wild, albeit with a lot of prep work first. By first performing a complex glitch called memory storage, then performing another glitch called inventory corruption, you can get 80,000 arrows, basically the amount of fuel you need to break the atmosphere. Then by performing more glitches such as apparatus storage, then jumping into Death Mountain, getting moon jump, then pulling out a bomb arrow will start your journey slowly towards the stars. You can even sort of see the edge of the atmosphere from up here. And remember many episodes ago when I said that maybe we'll be able to grab that shock arrow one day? Well, for glitch hunters, if there's a will, there's a way. And this technique also lets you grab that impossible shock arrow. Easy peasy. Previously, I've shown this mysterious apple tree behind Dag Choka's shrine, placed here for seemingly no reason. But did you know that there's actually more stuff even farther back behind the shrine? Using a couple glitches, you can walk freely around the Lost Woods for a short time. And if you head farther back into the Lost Woods, you can actually find a hardy truffle and 2 razor shrooms hanging out back here. Completely impossible to get through normal gameplay. Between the beehive, apples, mushrooms, and truffles all out of reach, it's theorized that Nintendo was building this space to be a playable area, then abandoned it and completely forgot to remove these assets. Did you know that there are several places in Gerudo Town that are safe for you to stand in without a disguise? Besides the obvious Gerudo Secret Club, you can climb inside the southeast gate, on top of the waterway, the 2 cornerstones, and straight over the wall on the northwest gate. Did you know that you can lift up large barrels like this with Rivali's Gale? And even go for a little ride on it. This can extend your Gale's reach. You can even walk backwards on it as well, like in the circus. There's a couple ways to escape the borders of Hyrule, but out here, as you'd expect, there isn't much of anything. But you can reach this unreachable mountain far east of Hyrule. Did you know that almost all the Gerudo in Hyrule greet you accordingly to the time of day? Which are good morning, good evening, and good night, before starting any conversation. Even Frida, the traveling Rito learning Gerudo, responds in the same way. For some players, it was really obvious to try to enter this fake doorway, but others may not know about this secret Gerudo Club interaction. Spear Lynels are often known for doing a jumping plunge attack against Link. But Sword and Crusher Lynels are able to do this as well, and they have their own special animation for it. There's a grassy plateau far west of Hyrule, impossible to reach because of its high winds and void out areas. But by using BLSS to zip through the wind before it gets a chance to load in, you can access the hidden plateau. This area even spawns dynamic enemies, just like anywhere else in Hyrule. Did you know Sidon can be knocked out? By pushing him out of the Zora domain, you can have enemies attack him and knock him out. Even though he's never in a combat situation like this during normal gameplay, Nintendo still coded the dialogue and animations of him being knocked out and recovering just in case. When talking to Selmie, the shield surfer, she lets you take a shot at shield surfing down Heber Mountain to race against the time, but sometimes she'll comment on what shield you have equipped on your back, which happens with only 6 specific shields: the Steel Lysol shield, Dawnbreaker, Radiant Shield, Gerudo Shield, Royal Shield, and her least favorite, the Royal Guard Shield. Very early in the development of Breath of the Wild, many NPCs were still in the concept and design phase, not ready at all for implementation. So to work around this, Nintendo used older assets in their place until the NPCs were ready. This photo shows Breath of the Wild Link interacting with Mila from Wind Waker in place of Riju, and Greba from Skyward Sword acting as Buliara. This would have been an amazing crossover. Did you know that it's possible to cut down a tree with a spear? Well, at least Moblins can, not Link. Link's spear attacks are all poking attacks, never able to cut a tree. But Moblins' swings are so strong they can even cut a tree down with the weak Boko spear. Not even Bokoblins and Lizalfos are capable of doing this. Nintendo was pretty ambitious when it came to designing horse behaviors, and many cute ideas were unfortunately cut, likely due to them being too difficult or not important enough to implement. From this small list here, only 2 made it, which were eating items and shaking when getting out of the water. They also wanted cheek nuzzling, dancing with music, a playful run, tree branch eating, and sticking its head through a house window, probably inspired by the beginning of Skyward Sword. There are a ton of examples through the game checking if you did something out of order and reacting accordingly. Like in the Zora domain, there's a separate cutscene for meeting the Zora King before meeting Sidon, and an extra Zelda cutscene if you never met Impa first.
Link.
Did you know that you can stand on top of Korok balloons? Have you wanted to see what one of these Korok flowers look from underneath? Well, here you go. Pretty much any Zelda fan who's watched speedruns have heard of the infamous Super Swim, which lets you swim at ridiculous speeds. But by clipping through the ground, moon jumping, clipping through the water layer by shield jumping and waiting for Link to fall through the water layer, then jumping back up to touch the water layer again, this triggers Breath of the Wild's version of a Super Swim. The strange thing is it even has key similarities to Wind Waker's version, such as holding the opposite direction to go forward and splashing if you stop too quickly. Most NPCs cower in fear of monsters, but Moza the Terrible Cook is capable of putting up a fight, since she has equipped weapons. If pushed far enough, this ladle and pot wielding Hylian can hold her own against dangerous monsters. Or maybe not. Previously, I've shown that if you quick menu while turning towards a shop item, you can see some really strange numbers appear for everyday items. This actually shows something that's pretty interesting behind the scenes. This was the default template they used in their proprietary version of a program you can purchase called Layout Editor. As seen here, it has the same double overlaid text on top, the extra stamina wheel, the same star, and 100 base attack. This program apparently saved them a lot of time in production, as normal production consists of creating the asset, checking in the viewer, implementing it into the game, then checking if it works properly. But in this case, they were able to make the item, then immediately reflect it in the game. They sure know how to be efficient. 1 year later, and we're still on the never-ending quest to find Breath of the Wild's secrets. If you enjoyed this series, let us know, and check out our other Breath of the Wild content including breakdown of today's advanced combat and easy tricks you can learn yourself. For anything else gaming, stay right here on GameSpot.